In the aftermath of the devastating World War I, the world sought to establish lasting peace and prevent future conflicts. On June 28, 1919, in the opulent Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles, the Treaty of Versailles was signed. It marked a pivotal moment in history, officially ending the war and redefining the geopolitical landscape. The iconic Hall of Mirrors served as a poignant backdrop for the momentous occasion, where representatives from the victorious Allied powers and Germany came together to negotiate the terms of peace. World War I, known as the Great War, had ravaged Europe, leaving behind a trail of destruction and loss. The treaty aimed to address the aftermath and bring stability to the region and the world. The treaty's principal signatories included leaders such as Georges Clemenceau of France, David Lloyd George of Britain, Woodrow Wilson of the United States, and Vittorio Emanuele Orlando of Italy, among others. Amidst an atmosphere of cautious hope, the leaders put their signatures on the document, initiating a new era for international relations. The Treaty of Versailles was a complex document, comprising numerous articles that addressed issues ranging from territorial changes and reparations to military limitations and war guilt. While the treaty brought an end to the fighting, its terms imposed significant hardships on Germany. The country was burdened with substantial reparations and territorial losses, leading to internal strife and resentment. As the delegates departed the Hall of Mirrors, the world held its breath, hoping that the Treaty of Versailles would indeed usher in an era of lasting peace and stability. Despite the initial optimism, the Treaty of Versailles had profound and far-reaching consequences. Germany, burdened with heavy reparations and economic hardship, found itself in a state of turmoil. The war had ravaged the German economy, leaving the country struggling to recover. Inflation soared to unprecedented levels, leading to widespread poverty and civil unrest among the German population. The treaty's provisions severely impacted Germany's territorial integrity. It resulted in significant territorial losses, with areas like Alsace-Lorraine being returned to France and parts of West Prussia ceded to Poland. These territorial changes not only diminished Germany's size, but also disrupted the lives of millions of people who found themselves under new rule. The German people felt humiliated and betrayed by the treaty's harsh terms. They saw the treaty as a diktat, an imposed settlement dictated by the victorious Allies without German input. The discontent among the populace gave rise to political extremism, and the National Socialist German Workers' Party, led by Adolf Hitler, found fertile ground to spread its ideology. Adolf Hitler emerged as a charismatic and persuasive leader, utilizing propaganda to blame the treaty for Germany's woes. His fiery speeches resonated with the disillusioned masses, promising to restore Germany's former glory and defy the perceived injustices of the Treaty of Versailles. The Nazi Party gained significant support, leading to Hitler's appointment as Chancellor in 1933. As Germany's discontent grew, so did its ambitions to regain military strength. Hitler began a massive rearmament program, defying the treaty's restrictions. The once disarmed nation rapidly built a powerful military force, including the expansion of the Luftwaffe, Navy, and Army. These actions not only violated the treaty, but also raised concerns among other European powers. Bent on achieving Lebensraum, living space, and uniting all German-speaking people, Hitler pursued aggressive expansionist policies. In 1938, Germany annexed Austria and the Anschluss, and later demanded the Sudetenland, a region in Czechoslovakia with a significant German-speaking population. The Munich Agreement of 1938 allowed Hitler to annex the Sudetenland, but it only emboldened his ambitions. The Munich Agreement was a failed attempt to appease Hitler and avoid armed conflict. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain famously proclaimed peace for our time, but the agreement's concessions merely fueled Hitler's aggression. Instead of promoting peace, the Munich Agreement showed the world the dangers of appeasement in the face of expansionist dictators. As Hitler's ambitions grew unchecked, Germany's invasion of Poland in September 1939 marked the beginning of World War II. The international community could no longer ignore the impending storm, and Britain and France declared war on Germany, thus plunging the world into another catastrophic conflict. The Treaty of Versailles, with its flaws and weaknesses, did not solely contribute to the outbreak of World War II. In the 1930s, other aggressive regimes also sought to expand their territories. Italy, under Benito Mussolini, invaded Ethiopia in 1935, seeking to establish an African empire. Meanwhile, Japan's aggressive actions in Asia including the invasion of Manchuria in 1931, further destabilized the world order. The combination of unresolved grievances from the Treaty of Versailles, the rise of fascist and expansionist ideologies, and the failure of diplomacy led to a cascade of war declarations and military mobilizations. The world stood on the brink of a conflict that would change the course of history and leave an indelible mark on humanity. The swift and brutal blitzkrieg tactics unleashed by Germany caught Europe by surprise. In May 1940, Germany's lightning-fast invasion overwhelmed and defeated France, resulting in the fall of Paris. The world witnessed the effectiveness of modern warfare, with devastating consequences for the conquered and the conquerors. Following the fall of France, Hitler turned his sights to Britain, launching relentless air raids in what became known as the Battle of Britain. The British Royal Air Force valiantly defended their skies, thwarting the Luftwaffe's attempts to gain air superiority. The battle became a symbol of resilience and defiance against Nazi aggression. As the war raged on, the true horror of the Holocaust unfolded. The systematic genocide of millions of Jews, along with other persecuted groups, by the Nazis, remains one of the darkest chapters in human history. Concentration camps like Auschwitz and Buchenwald became haunting symbols of the depths of human cruelty. The Eastern Front witnessed some of the most brutal and deadliest battles of World War II. The German invasion of the Soviet Union, codenamed Operation Barbarossa, led to massive casualties on both sides. The turning point came during the Battle of Stalingrad, where the Soviet Union's determination and sacrifice halted the German advance. In the Pacific theater, Japan's aggressive expansion led to significant battles and human suffering. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, brought the United States into the war. The Pacific conflict saw fierce battles in places like Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. The war reached its horrifying climax with the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, leading to Japan's surrender.
Beneath that sinister pall of smoke, the world's most destructive force has been unleashed.
The war's impact extended far beyond the battlefields. Civilians on the home front endured unimaginable hardships. Women took on new roles in the workforce, and rationing became a common experience. Cities in both Europe and Asia faced relentless bombing campaigns, leaving civilian populations devastated. The Allied invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, marked a significant turning point in the war. The successful landing and subsequent liberation of Europe from Nazi occupation brought hope and relief to millions. Amidst the devastation and the need to prevent future conflicts, leaders from around the world came together to establish the United Nations. The UN aimed to promote international cooperation, peace, and human rights to avoid the mistakes of the past. After years of unprecedented destruction and loss, the war finally came to an end in 1945. VE Day in Europe and VJ Day in Asia brought celebrations and relief. But the world was forever changed by the horrors of World War II. The conclusion of World War II marked a turning point in history. The devastation and loss of life served as a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked aggression and the importance of preventing future conflicts. In the aftermath of the war, the world faced the monumental task of reconstruction and healing. In an effort to promote lasting peace and prevent future wars, leaders from around the world gathered to establish the United Nations on October 24, 1945. The UN's founding charter emphasized diplomacy, cooperation, and respect for human rights as essential pillars for a better world. In the pursuit of justice, the Nuremberg trials were held to hold accountable those responsible for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide committed during the war. These trials set important precedents for international law and demonstrated the commitment to seeking justice for atrocities. The post-war era witnessed rapid advancements in technology, communications, and transportation. The world began to connect like never before, fostering a global community that transcended borders and cultures. While World War II had officially ended, the post-war period brought its own challenges. The Cold War emerged as a geopolitical standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union, creating new tensions and fears of nuclear conflict. Nevertheless, the world learned from the mistakes of the past. Diplomacy, negotiation, and peaceful resolutions became integral to resolving international disputes. Nations sought collective efforts to address global challenges such as poverty, disease, and environmental issues. In the decades that followed, humanity achieved remarkable milestones. The world witnessed space exploration, medical breakthroughs, the end of colonialism, and the advancement of civil rights. These achievements served as testaments to human resilience and the pursuit of a brighter future. As we reflect on the Treaty of Versailles and the cataclysmic events that followed, let us remember the importance of diplomacy, understanding, and the pursuit of peace. May the lessons of history guide us to a world where compassion, cooperation, and respect for one another prevail. In the quest for peace, may we learn from the past, strive for a harmonious world, and cherish the precious gift of unity.